The following program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Reserves, the gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would yield 2.5 minutes to the gentlelady from the great state of Missouri, Ms. Hartzler.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to adamantly oppose H.R. 8404, the Disrespect for Marriage Act. This unnecessary, misguided legislation not only disrespects the importance of traditional marriage for the health of a family, but also disrespects people and organizations of faith who have the constitutional right to carry out their mission in accordance with their most deeply held beliefs. With a crisis at the border, inflation skyrocketing, and a federal budget that is nowhere to be seen just weeks before Christmas, Democrats have made it abundantly clear that this disrespectful policy is their priority. Let's be clear, Obergefell is not in danger, but people and institutions of faith are. This bill only serves to further demonize biblical values by establishing a private right of action against organizations who believe in natural marriage, opening the floodgates for predatory lawsuits against people of faith. The bill's only purpose is to hand the federal government a legal bludgeoning tool to drive people of faith out of the public square and to silence anyone who dissents. Sadly, the Senate rejected 3 amendments that would have eliminated the private right of action and prevented the government from infringing on the freedom of religion. Instead, a flimsy amendment that includes vague language unlikely to protect anyone was included. Unfortunately, and likely intentionally, this hollow amendment provides no tangible protections for religious schools, no protections for faith-based adoption and foster care agencies, no protections for Christian businesses who contract with the government, and no protections for civil servants that justly believe marriage is just between a man and a woman. The bill's implications: submit to our ideology or be silenced. This is yet another step toward the Democrats' goal of dismantling the traditional family, silencing voices of faith, and permanently undoing our country's God-woven foundation. This is the Democrats' priority. Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill.
Today, a United States Congresswoman, my Aunt Vicky, started crying because gay people like me can get married.
I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill. This hollow amendment provides no tangible protections for religious schools, no protections for faith-based adoption and foster care agencies, no protections for Christian businesses who contract with the government, and no protections for civil servants that justly believe marriage is just between a man and a woman.
So despite coming out to my aunt this past February, I guess she's still just as much as a homophobe.
Obergefell is not in danger, but people and institutions of faith are.
Aunt Vicky, that's not right. Institutions of faith like religious universities are not being silenced. They're being empowered by the US government to discriminate against tens of thousands of LGBTQ students because of religious exemptions, but they still receive federal funding. It's more like you want the power to force your religious beliefs onto everyone else. And because you don't have that power, you feel like you're being silenced. But you're not. You're just gonna have to learn to coexist with all of us. And I'm sure it's not that hard.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hey, hope everyone's doing well out there. Got a little bit of snow here today, but then it melted. Funny thing about that was when it was snowing, okay, it was just a dusting, but there was some idiot across the road who had his snowblower out. And he was going up and down the driveway like he was actually moving the snow, but there wasn't any snow enough for the thing to even pick up. So I figured, what's he doing? Picking up the loose grass that he had from the last lawnmower? You know? So, yeah, it was bizarre. There's people around here that do bizarre things. Like there was a neighbor that I had that used to go outside at his house with a vacuum cleaner and vacuum his lawn, pick up all the loose grass from his lawn after he would mow it. I always thought that was weird. Never see anybody do that before, but, you know, maybe he was too cheap to get a mulcher. You know, my father had a lawnmower that would pick up the loose grass as you go, right? But I think maybe this guy wouldn't even have been satisfied with that unless he went out there with his vacuum and started. Anyway, a heck of a thing going on during Christmas season, isn't it? You know, all this racism and everything. Certainly the opposite of the spirit of our season. And, you know, it used to be that the Republicans were always the one attacking Democrats for destroying the Christmas season, okay? It used to be them. Because, you know, at the time people would say happy holidays. They didn't want to single out anybody or make somebody feel like they aren't part of the holiday season, okay? And then all of a sudden the Republicans started getting mad because some people figure Santa was black, okay, and the Republicans are saying, no, he's white, you know, like they actually met the guy. Okay, and there was that back and forth going on, okay, and so when they beat that horse to death, now they're out there just sowing discord in the public during the Christmas season, okay? So, you know, is it Democrats doing it? No. Obviously, you know, we're just trying to enjoy the season, and the Republicans are still smarting over the losses they took during the big supposed red wave that they were supposed to get in the midterms. So they're trying to get back at everybody, you know, back at the country by spoiling the season, by agitating the public, by getting people riled up for what's going to shape up in 2023 to be, you know, probably one of the worst years in politics, you know, in a long time, okay? Because, you know, now they got just a little bit more ability in their hands now to really put up a fight against Biden. I don't know what Biden, you know, if he realizes what he's in for, but I'm saying that, you know, up to now, it's been easy for him. And these Republicans are not going to make it easy from here on out. They're going to go, you know, full tilt boogie on Biden now, okay? And it's already playing out already. And I don't want to forget to mention, you know, it's been 10 years since Sandy Hook, okay? It seems like it's, you know, it happened yesterday, you know, when I think about it. And the tragedy, even after all the little kids that were killed and the teachers, you know, the tragedy was compounded by the fact that nothing was done after that happened, okay? We went out, we protested, we screamed, we hollered at the government, you know, the parents cried and they made speeches and they pushed politicians. And even with all of that momentum, with all that, we all thought that would be the last straw, right? The straw that breaks the camel's back. We figured that was going to be the one. No. The NRA got its way, okay, and they just kept pushing, you know, legislators to keep protecting what rights they think that, you know, that are there, that it's for them, okay? They didn't want to give up on that. They're just not gonna give up on it. And, you know, it's sad when you think about it that all those kids died for nothing, because, and not just those kids, but all the other shootings that happened even before that, all the way back to Columbine, and, okay, all these people that have died are dying for nothing because their deaths don't bring about any corrective measures in order to stop it from happening again. Okay, the Republicans are very, very tactical and very skilled at diverting blame, changing the narrative, and unfortunately the Democrats are not very good at holding the line. Okay, they get distracted too easy. They don't get their message out as crafty as the Republicans do, and that's always been a problem for the Democrat Party. They need to learn some skills from the Republican Party on how to get messaging out to the public, because obviously here we are 10 years later and we're still having shootings. Okay, more people have died, and we keep coming back to the same argument, and I feel like we're insane, because every time we try to come back to that argument, it's like we're trying to repeat the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Well, we're not getting a different result because we're blocked from getting it. Okay, and I don't know what more we can do, beyond just pushing our politicians, but it seems like they're bought and paid for. Okay. And unless we can come up with more money than they could ever get from big business, we're never going to be able to change anything. Okay, I mean, as gross as that statement is, okay, you look at how much money was spent in the midterms on all these elections, and it would blow your socks off. Okay, I mean, it's insane. Okay, that we have to spend billions of dollars to get people put into seats across the country. I can't imagine how, why people can just live with that. And of course, those people that get that money aren't going to say, "Oh, I don't want to do that anymore." Of course, they're going to keep taking it. You keep offering it to them, they're going to keep taking it. Okay, and so these politicians ought to walk around with a price tag hanging around their neck. You want me? It's going to cost you this. Okay, I mean these people are bought. They're bought and paid for, and until that changes, there's not going to be any change in these shootings until people just get sick of doing them. Okay, I don't know what else can happen, So I feel like we look back on Sandy Hook and we shake our heads because we all feel guilty that there was a moment there in history where we could have changed direction. We could have done it. We could have done it then if people knew how to capitalize on that moment to get legislation through. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and so we still live with the problem now. I don't know what's going to take. Maybe a politician getting caught up in a mass shooting or something will motivate government to do something. And I don't know what else will. Okay, I really don't know what else will. And on top of that tragedy and that humiliation, we still have people in this country who are, just simply throwing the hate out there. Okay, and one of the things that got my attention, and I didn't really talk much about it until after the vote was done, was the thing about the Marriage Act that Biden had signed here. Okay, and there was a lot of hoopla, of Republicans all against that. And there was this one congresswoman in particular, Vicky Hartzler, I guess that's how you say it. She got up on the thing there, and you probably saw the video, I guess, before the show started, and she just made this tearful appeal to keep the sanctity of marriage. Like there was ever any sanctity in marriage at all. I mean, how many Republicans get divorced? I mean, don't blow that smoke up my ass, because I know with that's just bullshit. These people are marriage doesn't mean nothing to most people in this country anymore. I mean, if you're in it, you put this on yourself whether you want to stay in it or not. Okay, but when you get a divorce, you don't go to a church, right? To get a divorce, you go to court. Okay, and it's just a bunch of legal papers that you have to do and everything, and make agreements on who gets what and everything, and that's considered a divorce. Now, of course, the church can recognize that divorce or not. It's totally up to them. Okay, but that's basically, how it's done. And marriages today, I don't even know why anybody really would want to get into one, because it costs money in the first place. Second, when any disagreement or a separation happens, I mean, you spend so much money in legal fights and everything. I mean, Jesus Christ, they turn marriage into you're both wearing handcuffs, okay? And if one of you wants to take it off, then they're gonna take something of what you got. If they can't have you, they're gonna take what you got, okay? It's a situation that's set up for disaster if it doesn't work out, okay? People can live together, okay, and they can make promises to stay together. You know what I'm saying? The same way as you do in a marriage, okay, and they save themselves from the agony of a legal divorce, okay, because they weren't legally married in the first place, okay. So I think the day is going to come when marriages are just going to go the way of the dinosaur. Honestly, I think that's So anyway, she gets out on the floor there, and she's crying about transgender people wanted to have their marriages recognized as legal, I guess. And she's a person that, well, she's got a nephew, okay, who's gay, I guess, and he went on an interview, I guess, recently, and was talking about what he went through as a kid growing up in a household that was very Republican, okay, and when he was 14 years old, they pushed him into conversion therapy, where they try to brainwash into your head, you're not gay, you know what I'm saying, is like that's a choice. Okay, these people, they don't choose to be gay, okay, this is something that happens at birth, okay. So he goes through that, and this went on right up until high school, I guess. He was right into high school, and they had to go see a therapist regularly, conversion therapists, or whatever the hell they call them, okay, all from the church, right, okay, and that's a rough period for anybody at that age, because you're trying to be accepted and everything, and your parents are telling you can't be accepted for who you are, and it's a wonder that he didn't go get a gun and start shooting up the school either. You know what I'm saying? They were putting so much pressure on this kid at 14 years old and on up. I mean, there's no telling what kind of damage they did to him in that era of his life, okay? There's no telling what he might be suffering with things we don't even know, he's not going to say, okay? But the fact is you put that kind of anxiety and that kind of stress on a kid at 14 years old when he doesn't even know how to deal with that kind of stress, it's gonna come out in ways that you're not gonna like, okay? So when he goes to college, I guess, he goes to Oral Roberts University, okay? And his parents, I guess, they chose that for him, from what I understand. He didn't pick that, I guess. They figured because it's a religious university, he would be safe there because there wouldn't be any other gays or whatever in that school. But lo and behold, he was there and he found out there are many of them. And there's many, thousands of LGBTQ students that go to religious schools across the country. A lot of them are pulled out of these schools and given more conversion therapy, or they're expelled, or or these people get beat up and stuff like that. This happens all the time. Okay, well, they found out that Andrew, I forgot to tell you his name. Andrew was gay. Okay, and so he had to go back into conversion therapy again. Okay, so I think to the times when, Republicans would always, accuse Democrats of bringing up sexual matters and stuff like that, when it's really them. They bring it up, Democrats respond to it, to their bullshit, okay? But they go around and saying that, the gay people are trying to indoctrinate others into their lifestyle. Again, it's not a choice. It's not a thing that's done by choice, okay? These people are born that way. They don't talk anybody into anything, okay? Sometimes, they give protection to people who want to come out. They'll help in that way, but they're not trying to indoctrinate anybody. What they're trying to do is explain to people, this is why I'm the way I am. And it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you or anything like that, or that you can change your way and be like, we're not trying to sell it, okay? We're trying to explain it to you so you know that this is a human thing, like, wanting to get a job as a fireman or something like that, or you're born with a talent, you know how to paint, you know how to, play an instrument, or, you know what I'm saying? It's something that you get at birth, okay? And if it's given to you at birth and God creates people, then obviously this is something that's normal, right? It's supposed to be normal because you were created by God according to their religion. God don't make mistakes. But the Republicans are arrogant enough to think that he does, okay? And that they're supposed to do something about it. Okay? So, this is their Christian thinking now, okay? They don't respect the sanctity of life itself. Then when they tell you that, they care about the fetus and all that, well, they say that, but once that fetus, when it's born a child, or what, then all of a sudden the care goes out the window. They just assume shoot you as look at you. Okay? So this university, like all these other religious universities, they spend so much time obsessing over, is that student gay or is he not? And they watch them and everything. They're the ones that are so interested in what's between your legs and how you think. Okay, that's what they do. I mean, all day long, these people are sitting here thinking about that, and trying to tweak the punishment, if you will, and trying to stop more from coming into their schools. I mean, if they find out you're gay, you're rejected, you can't come to the school. I mean, who the hell's going to want to go to a religious school if you're of the LGBTQ community? I mean, you'd be crazy, right? Because you know what you're going to get when you get in there. Okay, they're going to be after you all the time. Okay, so you're better off to stay the hell out of these religious schools. But the thing is that because there's so many of these people in the religious schools, now these schools are getting pissed and they don't want them in there, okay? And so when they found out about Biden doing this, marriage equality act and all what he was doing, I mean, that was like, you might as well have threw gasoline on their heads and lit it, okay? Because they were so pissed after that. But these religious schools at the same time are grooming the other students to hate the gay people that come into the school, right? I mean, because, hey, they're setting the example that the kids will follow in later in life, okay? They're taught that at home, right? Okay, at these, if you see a gay person, you get away from them, okay? Or, you shun them. Because when they're raising their kids and they see somebody that's gay, they try to pull them away so they don't get too close. You might get it. What I'm saying. So when I think about how adults in these extreme cultish Christian things, I think of the Taliban and how they treat their women over there. Okay. I mean, I was talking about how they were beating the shit out of them, and shooting them. Okay, we're just a few steps away from that happening right here in America against people that are gay and whatnot. Okay, so I just feel like the Taliban and Christianity in America has a lot in common. Okay, neither one of them will tolerate difference. Okay, they can't tolerate anything. They take their religious dogma and they apply that as rules in society, okay? Nobody asked them to do that, okay? The government makes the rules that we have to live by, not the religions. Religions are only supposed to be there to teach you how to live your individual life if you want to be a good person. That's it. You got to follow their rule if you want to be that way. Nobody else has to. Okay? They can reject your way of life and just go on living their way. And if you don't like it, okay, you got no right to go and attack these people. Okay? No right at all. If you can't stand it, then you might just as well move somewhere else where you don't have to see what's bothering you, or just get the hell out of America, go live somewhere else where people like you would be welcome, okay, to join this cultish mentality, okay? Who knows, you might be happier somewhere else. But to stay here in America and try to mold it to your liking is unfair to everybody else that lives in this country, okay? Because people want to be treated equally. And you're trying to say, no, we can't treat you equally because you're not living the way we were taught how to live, okay? So that right there is the problem. Tolerance, acceptance. I don't think we do enough teaching of that to our kids as they grow up. I really don't. I think a lot of these people grow up in homes where they're just simply taught to hate, okay? And love hating these people, to make fun of them, to laugh about making fun of them. I mean, that's what you get, okay, with these cultish Christians, okay. Not everybody that's Christian is like this, okay. I just want to say here for the record that there are good people in Christianity, but if you're a person that's gay or something, you may not want to come out and say that right off the bat when you meet somebody in that religion, because you can't tell who's going to be like that and who ain't, okay. You just have to feel your way through it, as it were, until you're certain that it's safe to say stuff, but it's sad that during, like I said, during the Christmas season, this is the stuff we're all exposed to is hatred. Okay, now of course the media is going to put it out there, sure, but it isn't just the media. I mean, these people get online, like I'm doing on YouTube, and they spread their filth that way. So even if the media is not covering it, it's still getting out there in the public one way or the other. So, but it's sad. I mean, these fascist thinkers want freedom to be that way. They don't want anybody putting rules on them to, if you do this, you're going to get punished. No, they want to be free to go out there and discriminate and be bigots. They think they have a right to do that. Okay, even though they can't explain or in any logical way why that's true. Okay, it just runs contrary to America. All right, let's go to commercial. We'll be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me. This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Donald Trump is back. Angry, vengeful, ready to take back the White House and wreck America again. And who's going to stop him? These weaklings and losers? Business leaders? They'll bend the knee and write the checks. The press? Too many are just here for the show, ready to both sides America to death. The law? He'll ignore it, like he's always done. No, the only people who will stop Trump are Americans ready to put country over party, ready to put differences aside to save this country, ready to work, ready ready to fight, ready to stand up when he knocks America down. Because it's not about left and right. It's not about rich and poor, black or white. Like it's always been, the choice is simple. It's America or Trump.
My mom is Kellyanne Conway. She works for Donald Trump.
These children are handed over to HHS so that they can be put into facilities.
I think my mom is like a sociopath.
And this is going to sound harsh, but it sounds like you're holding these kids hostage.
My dad physically abused me a lot right here in this very room. My mom, same thing with my mom, you know, she's very, very physically abusive. Very, very, very abusive. I figured I had to come on here and talk about this because this is like insane.
The most traumatic thing to do to a kid, separate them from their parents once they've made that traumatic journey.
I have all these issues because of my parents and what they did to me.
When you're separating kids on the border, Kellyanne,
No. Don't go back to that every time you... And like, my life has been up ever since. My mental health is at an all-time low right now.
And if people really cared about them, we would figure out a way to get the funding to expand the centers.
People like this shouldn't be allowed to have kids. They shouldn't be allowed to be one of the most powerful women in the world.
Are the kids who are crying on the tape, are they the ones that caused your problem?
How dare he? I don't have a problem. This
You've got a
country
big
has
problem
a problem
with this policy.
My mom should have never had her position in the first place.
How dare you try to
How
say
dare I what?
about
State facts?
Strawberry, blueberry, watermelon. New triple treat from Bubble Tape. 6 feet of gum, 6 feet of fun. New sour crystals. Better tasting Bubble Tape sours. 6 feet of gum, 6 feet.
And Mike Pence calls his wife Karen mother, and sometimes mother. Mother does not allow father to attend events with alcohol without her being present. Mother does not allow father to have dinner with another woman. In fact, mother does not allow father to be alone in a room with another woman. Mother is an art teacher at Emmanuel Christian School, which requires employees to affirm in writing that they will not engage in homosexual sexual acts or have a transgender identity. Father's epic homophobia made him sign into law in Indiana the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which encouraged and condoned the aggressive discrimination of gays and lesbians. Around the White House, mother is known as the bulldog and father as the pleaser. Father was placed in charge of the coronavirus response on February 26th. The 5 months that followed, more than 170,000 Americans have died. Mother and father both oppose gay marriage. In interviews, father obsessively praises Trump's broad shoulders, and cameras have repeatedly caught him looking at Trump like Cinderella. Some senators call Pence Trump's fourth wife. An official from the Reagan administration said, "I'd like my wife to look at me just for one day the way Mike Pence looks at President Trump every day they're together." Father wrote about how disgusted he was with the Republican Party because they allowed HIV-positive people to speak at the 1996 convention. Father supported the use of federal funding to treat people, quote, seeking to change their sexual behavior, unquote, otherwise known as gay conversion therapy. Father praises himself as an uber Christian, but was caught stealing campaign donations for his first congressional race and used the money to pay his mortgage, credit card bills, and even fees for golf tournaments. Meet Mike and Karen, father and mother. They're just weird AF.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Glenn? That's right. I'm on a hippo eating airheads. I'd like a hippo. Airheads have more fun.
Mom, can I have a popsicle?
No, honey, you'll spoil your...
Hey parents, tired of those out-of-control kids? Throwing embarrassing tantrums wherever they go. At the grocery store, on the playground, even at the dinner table. You've had it with parenting, but wait, there is a solution. Introducing Nap Time, the latest, most effective tool for child tantrum prevention. It's simple. Just douse a rag with our patented Sleepy Time formula, place it over your child's cry hole, press and hold gently for 8 to 12 seconds, and presto, no more tantrum.
I was beginning to think adoption was the only way out. Then a friend of mine introduced me to Nap Time. It's never been so quiet around here.
The secret lies in Naptime's revolutionary fast-asleep formula. Developed by military-trained scientist doctors from NASA, Naptime's powerful molecules rush to the child's brain on contact, gently inducing instant tranquility.
This is chloroform.
Already put those wallet-draining crap factories out on the street? That's okay! Naptime works in any situation. On the golf course. An awkward blind date.
I had a really good time tonight.
It even works on pets.
After we had our first child here, we regretted it almost immediately.
We didn't know that she'd cry so much.
Talk about defective. But thanks to Nap Time, our little Samantha here hasn't made a noise in weeks. I keep her in a shoebox.
Call now and we'll send you your very own 24-ounce bottle of Naptime solution for only 23 easy payments of $1.99. But wait, there's more! Act quickly and you'll also receive the all-new Dream Sack absolutely free. It's compact and portable for those on-the-go tantrums. Just cover it, tighten it, and forget about it. It's that simple.
We can't breathe good.
So if this looks familiar...
I feel pregnant.
Then don't wait! Order today and join the millions of Americans who just can't stop saying...
Thanks, Nap Time.
Thanks, Nap Time.
Thanks, Nap Time.
Nap Time! When they just won't shut up. Nap Time is not legal in the following states.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
I definitely discriminate against men that paint their nails and wear dresses. I don't really care how you feel about that. You can wear your dress and you can paint your nails, but I'd prefer you keeping 100 feet away from a playground and all of the feet away from my children and me. If I see you, I'm going to cross the street if I'm with my kids. Oh, Candace is not accepting. We need to be more accepting of the people, the men who like to wear panties. I'm good. You can be more accepting of it. You run that risk when you see a guy who looks like a freak and you're with your children and say, to be accepting, I'm going to put my kids next to him. And it's a survival mechanism, right? We want to survive. And so when we get that feeling, my mother used to refer to it as the heebie-jeebies. When someone just gives you the heebie-jeebies, even if you can't quite put your finger on why, I think you need to lean into that. And I actually think that society would be safer if we discriminated more. What's happening now is insanity because they're telling us to accept everything. To say, it's fine, he just has a fetish, he likes to wear panties.
Okay, welcome back. You know, in that video, I'll get to that here in a minute. I just wanted to say, when Congresswoman Hartzler was out there giving her tearful speech, you know, that she had 2 minutes to say, I had to think, some people think she faked the tears. I think that she really was crying because she knew that by saying what she was saying, it was going to get back to her nephew. Remember, he said he came out in February, which is not that long ago, okay? So his family's still swallowing this, okay? They're still trying to deal with this. Not his parents, I mean, because they knew all along, but apparently his aunt didn't, okay? And he came out to her. So she knew that by saying this, she was basically admitting that she lied about what she's told him when he came out to her, and now she's taking a stand against him, against her own nephew, okay? And by doing that, you know, some people, they have a conscience, you know, and maybe she's so wrapped up in politics with the Republican Party that she didn't have the guts to actually take a stand for herself and her family and support Biden. She couldn't do it. She was too afraid to lose all that money. So she chose greed over her family. Now, what kind of a woman is that? Now, as for Candace Owens, this woman here has been debunked and argued, and she lost, you know, for years, okay? She's really out there, and people know she's full of shit half the time when she's talking, okay? But you know, because we're talking about discrimination and stuff like that, and how I ended the last segment here by talking about how our parents and people that are, you know, adults, when they're raising kids and stuff, you know, we teach them how to hate by our actions, you know, by, you know, saying, oh, don't go over there, don't, you know, because, you know, him such and such, he's got painted fingernails or whatever. Okay, that's what we do, okay? And this woman here, Candace Owens, she admitted that's what she does, okay? She sees a guy with painted fingernails, and all of a sudden it's red alert, okay? Stay the hell away from this guy, okay? Why? Did he do anything to you? Okay? Did he wink at you, or did he, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this woman must live in constant paranoia wherever she goes. I'd hate to live in her shoes, because she must be like fucking crazy, you know? Somebody looks at her cross-eyed and she's like, oh, you know, head for the hills, okay? But she's got kids, and she tells her kids, you know, stay away from them, you know? And I'm thinking, you know, this is how it starts, you know? Kids learn. They're smarter than you think, you know? They learn as they grow up, because, hey, they look up to the parents. The parents are their protectors. You know what I'm saying? When you were a little kid, don't you remember? I mean, whenever something happened and you cried, you needed your mommy, you know, to help out. They were your protectors, weren't they? At that age, okay, what your parents say you do. Whatever they do, you imitate, okay? That's how you learn things, okay? Learn by doing. And obviously, this lady here grew up, you know, in a very, what can I say, a very negative atmosphere, to put it kindly, to be the way she is. And she don't quit. No matter how many times people corner her in a box and she can't get herself out of it, she doesn't quit. She just keeps right on doing it, because that's all she friggin' knows. Okay? She knows that people will listen to her. Okay? She knows they'll listen to her, because even if there's only a few thousand people, she's still going to keep on with that rhetoric, okay? And plus, you know, she gets invited to show up on different programs. You know, that's another way of encouraging her to continue running her mouth, okay? Media should just stay away from her. She's a bad apple. She doesn't give anybody any reason to listen to her, okay? We know what she is now. And the funny thing is because she's black, you would think, of all people, right, she would know better than to be a racist against people, okay, like that. But it just goes to show you, racism has no limits, okay? It can be in anybody. But, you know, all her arguments about how she treats people, the gay people and stuff like that, can be blown up in her face every single time when you say, well, look, what if these people did that to you? What if wherever you went, you know, white people would just, you know, ditch and everything just to get the hell away from you? How do you think that's going to feel? Because that wasn't that long ago when white people did that. In fact, some still do in certain areas. Okay? How do you think that's going to feel when people treat you the way you want to treat gay people and stuff like that. You know, how can you stand there acting so privileged in this country, like you've got the country by the balls, and act like, oh, I'm so much better than they are, okay? And I don't want my kids hanging around with your lifestyle. I don't want them to see you, okay? I mean, talk about somebody. I mean, that you get that kind of attitude from white women sometimes, okay? I mean, but she sounds like a white woman talking, like she is and will always be the example that others must follow, okay? And what do we call people like that, right? They're annoying as hell. Christ, even some white men don't even like women like that. So, I mean, it's just, she's really undesirable as a person. And, she's the kind of person, if you went out in public and you got into a conversation and she would start talking like that, you'd be embarrassed. You'd feel like you were that big right there because she didn't know how to control her mouth, okay? Because people hear you. It's safe to talk like that behind a camera, okay? Because no one's going to reach across the table and choke you, okay? But it's easy to say that on camera. But the problem is with her actions also speak loud too, because when she acts the way she says she does around people that she suspects are gay, because they're not gonna say, oh, I'm gay, so can you treat, people don't tell you that. She suspects by looking at, their mannerism or what they, painted nails or whatever they're wearing. She just immediately stereotypes that person right off as gay. He may not even be gay. She may not even be gay. She could be totally wrong, okay? But her paranoia about being around such people is at such a height that anybody who doesn't fit her inside her frame of what a normal person is going to be immediately rejected and so I'd hate to be around somebody like that, because she's the first person that will cause a Karen moment in front of people. You don't want to talk to her. You don't want to even stand next to her, okay? Because she's just waiting for something to happen so she can scream bloody murder, okay? I mean, that's the kind of, and I've seen people like that all my life as I've gone around the world here when I was in the military, okay? I've seen people like that. Even in the military, there's people like that, okay? They just live on their friggin' nerves all the time. They eat and eat and eat and all the time because they're a nervous wreck. Okay, and the way they behave around people, you can see it. Even when they're around people they think are normal, they still act like they're crazy. I mean, it's just, they just can't help themselves. They need mental health treatment is what they need, okay? Because obviously they were raised the wrong way, and they're butting into corners as they live through life. They don't know how to live in a respectable way. They can't. So Candace Owens is just one of those people, like many others that are out there, who are throwing bricks and mud and crap into the Christmas season, okay? It's funny that they all wait until this month to start that shit in, okay? I mean, yes, this has been going on all year long, but it seems like they're doubling down on it right now, okay? But they wait till now to come out and do this, and at the same time they blame the Democrats for ruining the season. Okay, when they're the ones out there hammering this bullshit home, okay? And I feel like, this is crazy. I mean, these people don't quit. They just don't quit, and even when it's known, widely known and in the mainstream, that the Republicans are bigots, racists, and homophobes and fascists and everything that you don't want people to be, that's them. I mean, you define Republican Party in today's modern world and that's what you're going to get, okay? Even though we know this, they still try to pretend that they're not, okay, as they continue being what we know them to be. All right? These people don't even know what they are, to be honest. I think they don't. I don't think they really know. I think in their twisted way of thinking, they feel like they're doing the right thing, and it isn't wrong. And anybody that tells them or appeases them, like Candace Owens here, it massages their conscience to make it feel like, okay, well, I'm doing okay then. I'm not doing anything wrong, because obviously other people feel the same way. So if they're doing it, I can do it too. You know, that's why I say the media should not put these people on the air. Okay, they have to be more careful of that on how they just present these folks, because they come out and they argue, and people are listening at home. There's even kids listening to that. You know, even if they're not really watching it, they hear it. Okay, there's a lot of times when I was growing up, my parents were watching the news, and I wasn't watching. I was doing homework, but I could still hear, you know, things that were going on the news. Okay, and I wasn't so naive I didn't understand what was going on. But the thing is that, you know, putting these people on the air and talking the way they talk, it's just, you know, they don't censor themselves. They don't edit themselves. They don't even try. I mean, they just say it right out these days, okay? And I feel like, you know, there was a time when somebody talking like that, you know, they would have said, okay, get him out of here, okay? We don't want to hear that. You know, they wouldn't have put an Adolf Hitler on the air in this country, you know, way back, okay? Because they know the kind of crap he would have spoken and said. I mean, it would have went on 60 Minutes. It might have gone on 60 Minutes as a profile on a nut, okay? But they never would have just done a raw interview with somebody like that and had them spew their garbage on the air for all to hear. Okay, they just wouldn't have done that. But now it's okay to do that, no matter who it is. Okay, Donald Trump, okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, Boebert, Candace Owens. I mean, these people can get their mouth out there, and whatever they say, they're hurting the public doing it. So, I mean, they may not think that, but they are. And I'm not saying that, you know, we ought to start going around shutting people up, okay? Freedom of speech is one thing, okay? But people have to be responsible about that freedom, okay? You're not kids, you're adults, and you gotta, and if you're at my age, especially at my age, you must understand that when you say certain things, there's always a consequence to what you say. There always is. It never changes, okay, through the ages, okay? There's always something that happens afterwards. And so you can't pretend that because you have a freedom, that you're shielded from that. No. Every day people are threatened. You know, even the politicians that are in Washington, they get threatening calls and stuff like that. You know, it happens all the friggin' time. Sometimes they follow through on it and sometimes not. But the point is that, you know, when they try to use that as a shield to continue doing what they're doing, and we don't try and make it more difficult for these folks to get their words out there, we're only perpetuating the problem. We're actually adding to it. And this Candace Owens, and just that little bit that I played for you here before, after the commercial break, that was a lot of crap. I mean, she said a lot in that, how much long was it? 2-3 minutes, I guess? And that short period, she spewed enough garbage right there to really upset a lot of young people. And what I mean by that is just to brainwash them, if you want to call it, or indoctrinate them into bigotry. Okay, just that. Because look, when I see Candace Owens, I see a lunatic, okay? But when a young kid sees that, she's an adult. She must know what she's talking about, right? You know, that's how kids get themselves into situations with adults, you know, pedophiles and stuff like that, because they trust the adult. They trust the adult to be the ones to protect them. Okay, even though they're being misled, and you know, they don't have the experience, the experience of living to recognize danger when it's there. Okay, and so as adults, we have to all pitch in to be responsible around the young people and not expose them to things that we know are negative, so that way they can grow up and have the freedom to live their life as they want to live it, and not be tied down by, you know, negative things that, you know, that they shouldn't have learned growing up. I mean, there's a lot of parents out there who skirted the, the qualification on being a good parent. Okay, I mean, if we're really interested in making sure that parents raise their kids right, a lot of these parents should have never had their kids in the first place. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can abuse a kid that isn't physical. Mental abuse, even though it doesn't show, you can mentally abuse a child where they grow up and their lifestyle ends up getting them in prison, okay, because they were taught a certain thing and they thought it was okay, and you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot of people out there who have kids right now who, even though they're being fed and they're getting sent to school and they buy them toys and they buy them clothes, they still shouldn't have the kids because of the things that they're doing around them, things they're teaching that kid, the way they're teaching that kid, and what they're teaching that kid. Again, danger. You're just breeding more bad apples into society. People we're going to have to deal with because you couldn't do your job as a parent. Now society's going to have to take care of that individual, legally or whatever, how it happens. Okay. Because we fail as a society when we put young people out on the streets like that. It's sad, and for Owens here, I think that the best thing for her to do is to just shut up, and everybody like her. Okay, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's coming from a position of privilege, obviously, because she seems to forget about slavery and the civil rights fight that still goes on to this day with the black people. And here she is, like she was, raised a white woman or something. I don't know. But here she comes, and she's all for it. I mean, she's basically defending the white supremacist attitude, because they don't like gay people either, right? So she's all in favor of the white supremacists. I mean, Christ, were they going to brand a swastika on her forehead, and that she keeps it up? And so, when somebody goes so far down that road where they're actually living an opposite world, that person has been completely misguided through life. And the kids that she had, she never should have had them. The state should have took the kids away from her, okay? Because those kids are all going to be messed up, and it's too bad that mental health isn't an issue that people are tested on before they become parents. Because I'm telling you, it would really behoove America to do such a thing. Just because you can have a baby doesn't mean you should. Just because you're a father doesn't mean you can be one. Okay, there's a lot there. So I like I said, for this Christmas season, there's a lot of misery, and it seems to be coming from the right wing. And like a bad fart, it's getting blown across the country into our living rooms and stuff like that. And we're getting tired of smelling it. Okay, these people are just bad cats, all of them. Okay, and we don't need to be reminded of what our problems are by folks like this. And we certainly don't need to have people in politics pushing more of the same in our direction, because they can't tolerate even people in their own family living a lifestyle they can't stand. All right, so I just think that how do you solve a problem like that? I guess the first thing you do is you out them. Okay, you get them out. You let people know. Okay, she said this, he said that. We know what they are. Okay, don't listen to them. It's garbage in, garbage out with these people. It's just don't listen to them. We gotta watch ourselves, basically, because we can't expect society to watch for us. We have to tread this water on our own, and so we have to do it smartly as we live our life. And that's what we really need to teach our kids, I guess, is that, look, in life you're going to run across all kinds of people. Okay, some people you'll like, they'll be like family to you or something. Other people they're going to give you the heebie-jeebies here, as Candace Owen said. Okay, you're gonna feel like that, and that's probably because something about that individual is rubbing you the wrong way, and it isn't because they're gay. It's because of things they're saying. Okay, the things they're saying somehow is not right, and if you know it isn't right, trust your instincts. Okay, and just walk away. Walk away from that individual. If you don't agree with what they're saying, or you think it's bad, or it's hateful talk, just walk away. Okay? And that's really all you can do. I mean, it's just, these people have to learn by how society is reacting to the things they say. And if we let them talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and say all this stuff, then they're just going to keep on talking, thinking that, they like to listen to this stuff. No, we have to react to what they say and call them out for what they are. All right, and then boycott them, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Let society avoid that individual. People can just stop talking to her, stop being friends with her or him or whoever. Just shun them. Okay, you don't need that aggravation in your life. Let them live with it. Okay, however that's going to play out in their life, you don't want to be part of it, okay, because it's going to end badly for them. All right, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So please, keep your ears open to COVID-19 news. They're saying that because we're going through the holidays and people are getting together more, for Thanksgiving and dinners and things, traveling, more people are getting sick, okay? And so we need to start wearing our masks till we get through the season, and maybe it'll calm down some. And then, we're still not at the point where we can get a good hold on this virus, but we're getting there. Okay, they got medications now that we didn't have before when it started. That's helping a lot of people. But you still have to get your vaccinations and stuff like that as a first step. Okay. This is not something that you can build an immunity up to, because the minute you get it, it could kill you before you can build an immunity up to it. So you got to have some kind of medicine in place to help you to get through it. Okay, it's that advanced of a virus. Okay, so anyway, treat each other well. Okay, this is Christmas season, and I'm hoping that any Republicans out there listening here will take up my advice here and just don't start anything. Okay, enough is enough. If you really like Christmas, you respect it, then you won't start any fights, you won't start any abusive talk. Okay, you'll keep it to yourself, and that way we know that you do really care about the sanctity of Christmas. Okay, and keeping it hate-free, because we don't need that. And anyway, so take care, everybody. I'll talk to you again later.